Eric is in Akron, Ohio. Eric, your question for Dr. John Deloney.
Yes. So what I have here is I'm a CEO of a small family construction business, and I was in the process of buying it out from my father. We just started talking about it, and in the meantime, my father passed away here in May.
I'm sorry.
And, thank you.
What happened?
He had congestive heart failure and an autoimmune disease. So
how old?
Yeah, he's 59.
Oh my goodness, Eric! I'm so sorry.
Yeah, man. Yep. Yeah. So in the meantime, with the way the will was set up, my mother currently owns the business.
Sure.
But how do I go about it to purchase it? Or, I mean, we've been talking about it. We want to move on with it. But my number one thing is, how do I take care of Mom? And also, what do you suggest? Because Dad and I, excuse me a little bit, Dad and I had talked about a 5-year plan. He retires at 65. And my mom is currently 58. Do I still go ahead with a 5-year plan, or do you wait till Mom's 65, or what's your thoughts on that?
Wow. Well, you're right in the middle of a lot of emotion right now, and so the first thing I would do is try to buy yourself some time and buy your mom some time.
Okay.
If you can just run it for a little while, I don't think there's a rush for you to buy it. I would just keep her on payroll. What was he being paid?
So he just took a salary of $75,000 a year, and then whatever was remaining in the business.
Okay. Can she live on $75,000 a year for a little while? Yeah,
she's totally fine on that.
Okay. What I'm trying to do is just get something where we can just park the sale for a minute and give us room to cry.
Okay. All right.
My general rule of thumb is 6 to 9 months, 6 months to a year. I'm not doing anything major.
Okay. All right.
That would be different if Mom couldn't pay her bills.
Yeah.
And me and Dad already had a plan.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you how to talk to Mom. Do you have any siblings?
I do.
Okay.
I have one brother and 2 sisters.
How are they involved in this business?
So, my sister works there as a part-time secretary, but we've already sat down. This was before Dad passed, and we discussed about who gets the business and all that. And their siblings are totally okay with it, and that's what the plan is moving forward. That I would buy it from Mom eventually.
Okay, so have y'all have talked since your dad passed away?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Often plans made before somebody passes can radically change once somebody's passed. But assuming y'all have talked about it, I would slow the roll. And if Mom is okay on $75,000, I'd be very clear with her and say, Mom, Dad and I had talked about some of this. I'm going to continue to make sure you get Dad's salary. And we'll circle back in a few months and we'll sit down and do this stuff. But right now, I just want to be sad about Dad, if that's okay with you. And she might tell you, I need to get this thing sold. I don't want it. It makes me uncomfortable. And if that's the case, then y'all can go down that road. And I think whatever arrangement you had with your dad, if that works for your mom, then I figured that out financially.
And I would add to it, I've just found that people physically in the same room, we get agreement that is remembered. They don't remember texts. They don't remember whatever. And so if I were you, if you guys can have a family dinner where your brother or your sister and your mom are there and say, okay, I can do whatever you all want. Dad and I had talked about buying this. I can move forward with that. It might be good for us to just sit a little bit in our grief and let's park this for 4 months or 5 months, and let's revisit this the end of January. And in the meantime, I'm just going to pay Mom a $75,000 salary, Dad's old salary. Mom, is that okay with you if we revisit this the end of January? brother and sister, is that okay if we start the discussion again of I'm going to buy this from Mom beginning the end of January, and between now and then, let's just remember Dad and cry.
Okay.
Would that
All
work?
right. That's kind of, yeah, that would work. And honestly, we had this discussion already, and we sat around many evenings around the living room and just talked about that already. That's kind of the road we want to go on.
Good.
But and then okay, so in January, would you? I'm thinking forward. Would you wait 5 years or
No,
I mean, that's my next.
no. I would close the deal now.
You would close it, okay, and whenever we feel the time's right.
Yeah, and I'm going to structure the deal in such a way that Mom is always going to have something to eat. Okay. And that could involve sending a bunch of money home for the purchase as soon as the business is able, and then helping her manage that pile of money at home so she has money to eat. Okay,
Yeah.
rather than her
Mom,
constantly being on the salary for life out of the business. That one makes me less comfortable. So, for instance, if you bought her out for, what do you think the value of the business is?
So we never put a purchase price together, but we were thinking roughly $1 million to $1.25 million.
What's it net?
Net's around 200 to 250 per year.
Okay, it's not worth 1.25. It might be worth 1. It might be worth 8, somewhere in there. Okay, but let's call it $1 million. All right.
Okay.
And you're making $200,000 a year profit, right?
Yep.
Okay, Mom, I'm going to give you. I'm going to live on a salary, and I'm going to give you 90% of the profits towards that $1 million number until you've gotten $1 million.
Okay.
That means you'll probably get it in somewhere between 3 and 5 years. If we grow faster, it might be 3 years. If things slow down, it might be 5 or 6 years. But I'm going to give you 90% of the profits every month out of the business, and that until we hit $1 million, and that's my purchase price, and that's how you're going to get paid. Now, when I send you $200,000 home, then I'm going to take my purchaser hat off and put on my son hat, and we're going to meet with a financial planner and invest that money so that you can live off of the interest and the income that it creates, not you live off the $200,000, because the $200,000 checks are going to end in about 5 years. And I want you to have $1 million in the bank when that happens.
Correct. Yeah.
Does your mom work outside the home?
No, she does not.
Okay. All right.
No. Yeah, and she's honestly, she's 58 years old. She's well taken care of, and we discussed this already, that she can live off what they have without the business. So that's the blessing, I guess.
Then the money that you save goes into a nest egg, or the money you pay for the business. You walk over to her house, take that business hat off, put the son hat on, and make sure she puts it in a nest egg.
Okay.
And that's your gift to your mom, not your purchase from the owner.
Okay.
And there's one more important gift here. And this may be the most awkward part of this whole interaction.
All right.
And I would tell her, Mom, I have a habit of forgetting stuff, or things get moving real fast. I'm going to put all this down in writing so everybody stays on the same page forever.
And we're going to show it to brother and sister.
Okay.
And when that $1 million is done, you're going to send her a certificate that says the sale of this business is complete.
Okay. All right.
Because I don't want her. I don't want her calling you in 7 years and saying, "Hey, where's my money?"
Okay. All right. Yeah. And so, that answers my question. It's just a lot of challenges right now.
Can you do one thing for me?
Yeah.
What's your dad's name?
Larry.
Larry. What's a hilarious thing Larry was known for?
Probably he had a fishing boat. Well, my dad was a minister as well, so he had a fishing boat. And anytime someone calls and he was fishing, he'd just say, "Too busy. He's on visitation right now." So,
was he a good fisherman or was he terrible?
We had many good memories of good fishing, so I think it was really great.
All right. I'm going to challenge you with something, okay?
All right.
When we lose somebody we love, often, especially somebody that was surprising like this, right? He was planning his retirement.
Yes.
And it went pretty fast, right?
Yep, it went really fast.
So often when we think about Dad, the thing we think about is like the funeral. We think about the funeral home. We think about that first phone call. That's what pops into our head. That's our body's just trying to take care of us. And if we have at the ready that other memory of that time you and him were fishing and he caught a big fish and he almost fell out of the boat because he's a little bit goofy. Or the time he hung up the phone and told somebody, I'm on visitation. He looked at you and winked. You get to pick which one of those memories of your dad you think about.
Yep.
And so I want you to hold one ready to insert, and I want you to smile and say, not today. And I want you to think of that funny one, the one that brings you joy. And you're going to smile and you're going to light up at those fun memories of your dad. And that's going to become that legacy that carries with you. And he's going to have a reputation in the community, how he talks to people, how he honored people, and you're going to keep that thing going. And you're going to take this business from where it is, and you're going to double it and triple it, quadruple it. You're going to make it something special. That's pretty amazing.
I appreciate it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting us honor Larry today, man.
Alrighty. I appreciate it.
Eric, thank you for calling, brother. Wow, what a story. Yeah, this is why we write it all out. This is why we have a plan. This is why we think ahead on all the steps of family business, especially in the legacy stage, and that's certainly where they were, where I am. In this legacy stage, you've got to be very, very intentional. You have to be at every stage, but this one is really, really important. The good news with that family is it sounds like all four of them are solid people.
So good. And they can just have that conversation.
There was not a turkey in the mix.
Yeah.
Those were all eagles.
And it's real challenging, Dave. It feels like we're violating families sometimes when we write stuff down. It's the greatest way to honor each other.
Yeah. I can tell you story after story after story of big businesses even where it took an attorney and 3 years to deal with your own mother. And that's just, because she, in the middle of the grief, did not remember things the way they were actually done.
That's right.
And it's a problem. It's a serious problem.